finally got it down to below 50 thousandths left to go, and I ended up putting it between centers to make sure I had it really good and true, because working out of a chuck on one end and a live rest on the other end, or tailstock, I'm sorry. If it's not perfectly straight in the chuck, the tailstock could be flexing it just a little bit, and I did find that to be a little bit true. I had to move my tailstock just a smidge. I took a light cut on one end, a light cut on the other end, made an adjustment, and now I've got her within about, best of my measurements, within about 4/10,000ths of an inch. They did take a little bit of playing. Now I'm down to 0.0068 right here. I'm taking 4th thou off, so that should bring me down to 2 thousandths and 8/10ths, or 0.0028. And I've slowed my feed down, so I'm trying to get a good finish on it. Now, since I go between centers, you got to have a lathe dog on here, and there's one I made from scratch at home, and I can only get up to right here, which this gets me outside the seal area and up into the wheel hub, so I'm not too concerned about this area being a little bit of a breaking point of getting a mismatch. The main thing I want is the center part right there, so I'm working on that real nice and slow and taking light cuts off of it and keeping my bit sharp, very sharp, and that's where we're at right now. Probably one more pass should bring me right down to 1 inch, and I'm going to slow that feed down to 2 thousandths of an inch per revolution. Right now I'm running at 3 thousandths. So see what kind of finish we can get off of that. Showing up on the camera, or it's going to show up in the video, but in person it's not too bad. It's not going to have a polished finish. I just want a good smooth finish. Make sure all my sliding pieces have to have the ability to move like freely, like they're supposed to. Like I say, we're going to stop at 1 inch, see what it looks like, put the parts on there, see how free they are, and we may end up going down another 2 thousandths, but I think 1 inch is going to do pretty good for us. Okay, I just finished up my last passes, nice and light and easy across here, and I flipped around and got the other end that was over there where I couldn't get to, and I believe I should be right down to right at 1 inch or thereabouts. So we'll put a mic on here and we'll see what we come up with. And on this end we come up with half a thou under, so it'll be 0.9995, so it's 5/10,000ths under. Over here on this end we come up with that's right, the 8. So it's 2/10,000ths under. That's 0.9998. That's pretty close. And right here in the center, no, I didn't get that right. At least I hope I didn't get that right. Wow. Came up. just about exactly 1 thou under. So 9 thou under. So a little smaller in here than it is out there. Oh well. That's the best I can do with it. The only thing I can do now is back this out of the way, put some sandpaper on here, see if I can polish that up a little bit, but the feel of it is not bad. Not bad at all. And one thing I did want to point out to you is on this end over here, and I'll get you off tripod so you can see it, is with my homemade lathe dog right here, which is made out of aluminum, but there is quite a bit sticking off of here. I could cut that down. I haven't done it yet, but it does throw a lot of extra weight over here, cause it a wobble. So I found that I take me a bolt, stick over here opposite from there, and clamp her up there, and you got a little bit of adjustment in that slot so you move it in and out, and that did real well at taking most of the vibration out of it. There's a slight little bit in there I could have played with a little bit more, maybe put another couple of washers on there, but it was tolerable for me. I was happy with that. So now I'm going to back this out and I'll polish this up some. Not looking for a polish shaft, but would like it a little clean. And then I have to see about putting my chuck in over there and getting an exact length on how long I want it. Go ahead and cut her down to the length and then lay out exactly where the dead center is. And actually I'm going to check on my other one, see if the Woodruff key is dead center or if it's offset to one side. It should be in the dead center, but I haven't checked that. I will check that before I do anything. And then I got to figure out where my snap ring grooves are going to go. And my snap ring grooves are going to be 50 thou wide, 50 thousandths wide. So I took my time and I ground that 1/2 inch bit down and got it right at 50 thou wide. It actually tapers back just a little bit back here, not a whole lot. And side profile, you can see it cuts away there. So I got it real good and sharp. I put it on a hone and honed it down real good and sharp. I've never had much luck with parting off without getting a whole lot of chatter. I know I'm not parting, but it is partial parting. I guess you're doing the same thing, you're just cutting a groove. I'm going to have to go in about 50 thou. I'll double check that, but it's roughly where it was. And we'll see if we can do that without too much chatter. So that's where we're at right now. I'm just going to spin her up and put some sandpaper on here and polish her up a little bit. Break her loose out of here, and I'll bring some of my parts over here and I'll see how they fit on there. I'll start off with the clutch right here, and I'll get it turned out here so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see right there. Yeah, got the clutch. Slide the clutch on there. Just a little bit of play is what we want. It slides back and forth. I'm happy with that. That's the first time I've ever really pulled a shaft down to exact measurement of one. I've always overshot a little bit with the getting used to my dial here, giving her 2 thou and actually taking off 4. Got one of my drive gears on there. A little bit of play. Spins nice and free. Happy with that. My bushing over here. Can't complain with that. Yep, I'm happy with that. Alright, we'll go ahead and see if I can get the chuck put in there, and then we'll have to face that off, trim her length, and do some measurement on the other shaft and start transposing them over to here. Okay, finally got the finish I wanted on the shaft, and it's been a couple of days. I've had to have to go to work periodically, but I went ahead and started laying it out, and I found off the old shaft the overall length is 15.5625 overall length. So I took that, divided it by 2, and that gave me 7.781 to the center line of the whole length. Now, since this is I've already faced this end, the other end's not been faced, I took my measurements from here, came over to the center, and I marked that line right there at 7.781. Then through measurements off the shaft, the original shaft again, I found out to the center, from the center line right here over to the center of the snap ring groove is 3.923 inches. So I went ahead and put some layout compound on there, scribed a little line on there, and then I went from the center line again back over to the other side, and I just used black magic marker this time, and scratched a little line right there. So now I'm going to double check and triple check my measurements again. This should be where the Woodruff key goes, or the Pro key, high Pro key, I think is what they call it, and then my 2 snap rings out here. So let me double check my measurements again, and then we'll see about cutting some ring grooves. I'll go ahead and cut them between center. I took my lathe dog off of here so I could rotate the shaft. So I'll put my lathe dog back on and try to cut those 2 grooves in there. But I'm going to triple check my measurements again.